So when we started this podcast, Mick hit me up and she's like, I'm at a SaaS company now. And have I got a guess for you?
And that was me.
And it was you.
So
Ben
when-
You
Liebert.
need to work on your surprise face.
Liebert?
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Liebert?
in the moment.
Liebert.
But not so surprised I'm like stunned at where I am. Like I put a bag over my head and suddenly.
How did you get in here? We talked about this. We don't ransom the guests anymore, Elena. The insurance doesn't pay out. They're on to us.
What does it mean to have a human in the loop?
Human in the loop.
Human in the loop. What in the world is a human in the loop?
Being a human in the loop.
AI in the loop. Humans in charge.
Welcome to Human in the Loop. When we were catching up a couple of weeks ago, you talked about on the side of being a kind of software consultant, Black Ball Software, starting to build this kind of side fun project. And I'll let you explain what it is because in non-technical language, I'm going to mess it up. Data extraction from a whole lot of programs over here so that you can query your data over here. And then when AI came along, you were like, I remember you saying at first it was like, oh no, AI is going to wipe out all of the effort I just put in. The reverse is true, and it's actually now that AI is a thing, it's made all of this easier because you're pulling data from so many sources, and now large language models have given you this supercharge to allow people to query their data in better ways.
Kind of. So it is true
So close.
that as a software developer, it wasn't just AI coming on, it was no code and even just how much easier coding tools got. And slowly my expertise was getting pushed up and up to the right. So much more technical and much more kind of connected systems, but also much, much more expensive. So we built SyncHub, which I can get into that a little bit later, but essentially this is before AI. It extracts your data from cloud services like Xero or HubSpot, and yes, it puts it in a repository so that people can query it. So our customers were, BI experts and people that are writing reports. And I saw AI coming, but I saw it from the perspective of a software developer, and I thought, oh my gosh, AI could pretty much build SyncHub now. What am I going to do? Everyone's going to turn to ChatGPT and say, get my data from Xero, and that would be done. As it turns out, that it's not even close to being able to do that. But the point that I missed was not only SyncHub protected from AI, but we were an essential cog in that machine because AI is only as good as the data that it can work with. And we'd spent 5 years finessing, cleaning this really nice data, and we put it in a proper relational database so it's easy to report on, easy to understand. And what do you know? AI needs proper structured data that's easy to understand. So that's what you were saying before. We can now, in 2025, we take an LLM, we let a human ask a question, but we can feed in the context of their Xero or HubSpot data. And the AI can make a really intelligent SQL query based on its understanding of how the data works, get that data, and then use that to talk back to the user. So suddenly our whole product's gone from targeting BI analysts to just Joe Blogs who has no technical skills, but they know their business and they just want to ask ad hoc questions like you would any employee in your organization.
So what's a really good use case example for people like me who don't know what a SQL query is? I mean, I'm aware that a SQL query is a thing.
It's a type of crypto coin.
Don't. I'm being negged against my will.
Look, a SQL query is just the way that a software program extracts data from a database, but a human, a software developer, has got to construct that SQL query. But it's a language just like English or Japanese, and these LLMs, which are just pattern recognition machines, are excellent at constructing language. And because SQL is just a subset of, 26, 50 words, it very rarely gets it wrong. It can write a SQL query, and that means you can give it a database of 100 million records, far too much to feed into an LLM context, but because it can construct this question, it can extract just the tiny sliver of data that it needs, pop that into your conversation. So suddenly these people like yourself who might have 100 million records of invoicing data, but you have no way of getting it out, and you don't want to
Don't worry. Don't worry.
You don't want to go and learn SQL and be a BI analyst. That's a very certain type of person who wants to do that. You don't need to, because the AI it's the glue, right? Like we talk about 5 years ago, we were democratizing data because we're extracting it from cloud services and giving that data to people. We're opening it up to people. And now with AI, we can democratize information because it's the glue between the question that you were asking and the data that we already had. And it's that missing piece of the puzzle, but it's so incredibly powerful.
I know exactly how I want to use it because it's my biggest. Well, can I give you a scenario and tell me if this would actually work? Every month, when I get asked for the marketing board report, I spend a good 3 hours manually transcribing.
Is good the right word?
Why'd you look at me? You looked straight at me when you said that. I do read them.
I know. And I'm really proud of my reports. But a lot of manual effort goes in because there's probably 4 or 5 different SaaS platforms I use that I have to get data from. I report off a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet does not connect to the thing because of security reasons. I can't just plug them together. I just open like 25 tabs and I read through data, and then the analytics part is where you sit and you look at the spreadsheet and you go, so what's the insight I'm gleaning from this? And if you've been doing the job for a long time, you can kind of get there easily, right? But what I would love to do is to just have it magically populate like magical little elves. The data happens, and then you can go, what's my year-on-year audience growth? Am I seeing a decline in one metric over another? Like that kind of human-based query, which is currently being done through a lot of really analytics.
I hate to break it to you, but I think you're not even going to be needed anymore, because why would you bother constructing a report when they can just have the AI in their meeting and ask the questions that they want of it?
We don't know the question to ask.
That's it. Okay, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So that's a nice segue. I was playing around with our system last month, and we've got these scheduled tasks, so you can tell it ahead of time, like send me last week's sales every Monday, or let me know if Larry doesn't come into work, right? And so I said, you are the world's best operations officer. Here is our HubSpot data, here's our Xero data, here's our Stripe data. This is all this is the data that we're using in our business. We eat our own dog food. And I said to the AI, I'm not going to tell you the questions to ask. You know more than I do. So every afternoon at 6 o'clock, I want you to send me an email summarizing some strategies that you can see, look for patterns in the data. And I tell you what, I get that email. And it's really smart. Obviously, it gives you simple things like churn rates and your MRR, and it gives you forecasts and projections. And then it starts to fill with jargon and suggestions, which actually I don't know these things. I've actually jumped onto Google and just had a little bit of a look to see what it's talking about, but it's incredible. And so you don't know what questions to ask? Yeah, quite right. But these guys know what questions to ask. This thing's been trained on the entire internet, so it's more than capable. I don't think it's going to actually replace your job anytime soon, but the writing's on the wall. And so you're kind of asking the wrong question. The question you're asking is the question that we solved in 2022. But now with AI, it's just taking the human out of the loop.
But it's giving Elena, who has a lot of marketing expertise, a tool like that, you get an even better result.
I think that's true. So that's this whole conversation about AI augmenting a human rather than replacing a human.
Because it's the ability to then read the report and know what actions am I going to take next, or is there anything that might be missing? When I would think, let's say for a marketing report, I would look at stuff like, okay, well now plug in, if I get this to query my data and the macroeconomics of this country right now, or if you're an e-commerce brand, can we add a weather filter? Show me what the weather has been doing over the last 6 months and show me if that's making a difference. So you can kind of, that human understanding, what intangible things are driving human behavior. That's at a marketing level anyway. But like, yeah, even thinking about like if you were running reports on if people are coming into work or not, doing their timesheets on time, like, which is every service business's like biggest bugbear, and then you cross-reference it with someone's lifestyle or sleeping patterns, and you can start to go like, where are the problems that a human can help solve with another human, but getting the data quickly enables you to act more quickly.
Look, I think it all comes down to data and the context that you put into these, and that's also what's going to differentiate businesses going forward, because it's any developer now can hook into an LLM and lay it on top of their software and say they've got an AI product, but the way you're going to genuinely add value is, I believe, the next layer down, where you can feed in either some context, which is what we're doing, or everyone's talking about actions in agentic AI at the moment, but to me that's really just a connector to data and to other contexts, right?
Yeah.
So you've pretty much repeated the value back to me, right? When you said you want to bring in the weather, or you want to bring in this person's sleeping patterns, that's all it is. It's just another data repository.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to merge your data has always been a very useful thing. So
Yeah,
I think that's pretty good. There's one thing about constantly asking algorithms for advice is you get homogenized advice, which is demonstrated by Spotify and the trend towards all pop music sounding fucking identical.
Yeah.
There's a good Vice. I think it's Vice or Wired. One of those.
Yeah.
Oh, Vox. Vox did a thing where they analyzed all of the melodies, rhythms, etc. over the last 40 years, and clearly demonstrated a correlation with algorithmic suggestions and
that's
homogenization
interesting.
of music. So I think what will happen is anyone that doesn't have access to a marketing resource will get better, because they'll be able to lift their game. And then extremely high-performing teams will be full of human experts with supercharged AIs, and they will diverge significantly from the norms. So they will,
well, that's your point of difference, right?
Well, it's probably going to happen just on the numbers, because I don't know, take any kind of viral marketing thing that's happened in the last 10 years. Like, that guy, the kid Cubby, where he doesn't say anything. He just shows a meme, and it's usually someone doing something fairly obvious the wrong way. And then he just points at it and he just went super viral.
Oh,
and he doesn't say a word.
The guy that got deported?
Did he get deported?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
no.
a whole nother story.
Okay. I hope he hasn't done anything bad, because I like him. But he just ends up doing shit with Messi and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, that's
No, he got caught up in Trump's deportation and
okay.
stuff.
That's
Ice.
Trump's. So you made it sound like it was his fault. But like when he first made a video like that, there would be no precedent, because I picked Cubby in particular because there is no precedent. There's nothing before him that resembles his first video and his subsequent videos. That was him, all him. So there's a real question about whether, because you say they're pattern matching machines, right? And I think there's a good group of computer scientists, including myself, who would generally agree with that. In order to be a pattern matching machine, you're replicating patterns that have existed in the past, right? Whereas human creativity, if you believe that there's an infinite permutations of how you can do something, is completely unbounded.
I mean, to what extent is a human a pattern recognition machine? Isn't that how our children grow up?
Yeah.
I think nature in our brains, I've always said this, I've said this in the previous podcast, our human, all life forms exhibit quantum traits.
Yeah.
You can show a baby a picture of a hand-drawn cat, and it will be able to recognize a real cat, different cartoon cats, variations of cats, photos of cats, videos of cats. How much data does it take to train a pattern recognition machine to train a shitty YouTube cat?
Well,
to recognize a shitty YouTube cat.
You're right. There's obviously something fundamentally different, because they've got, $500 billion power banks and server farms, and we've got better in our heads.
Yeah, I've got
So
one
there's
corn cob.
something different there. Yeah.
That's probably just when quantum computing comes in, it's probably the next. We're talking about AI winters. Quantum quantum's probably the where GPT-7 actually takes off. I was just saying I have a slide from like nearly 3 years ago that says GPT-6 will be where we plateau, and GPT-5's like a complete letdown. So.
Even if you had, okay, so imagine a future and you've got quantum computers so they can operate massively at scale, and let's add nuclear fusion into that. So we've got unlimited clean energy. You're still just brute forcing it, right? It's still taking a shitload of quantum computing and energy to recognize a cat, but we can do it in here. So I think that future might well come, but I also think that AGI, if you consider some entity which is kind of self-aware, I don't think that's going to be an extension of LLMs. I think that will require a fundamental change to the architecture. You know that girl, I forget her name, I need to keep looking it up. She studied ImageNet and then she went on to work for Google. And ImageNet worked just by categorizing images. And so then they could do things like image recognition. Apparently she started a new project now, but she's categorizing every object in the world. And I think something like that, where you've got more kind of a neural network of relationships between objects, that might have a bit more of a foundational underpinning to AGI, maybe.
Yeah. I do wonder how your ability to deduce what a thing does is part of recognition. So computer vision models are fed in labeled photos and photographs, and then VLUs fed in words associated to what's in the image as well as the image. But like if someone rolls up to you suppose you'd never seen a really old car, and someone rolls up to you in a really old car, who would be more confident, the human or the machine that was trained on images of cars, about whether it was a car or not?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've got a really good example for you guys, but I might have to cut it.
Yes! Bring it on. This is what I live for.
There is this device sold as a massage wand. And it's labeled as a personal massager, and there's not a human being in the world that knows that that's a massager. They know what it really is.
What does the AI say it is?
It's an egg beater, right?
That's a really good question. I'm gonna throw it into I'm gonna find a picture of it.
Find a picture.
And put it into some LLMs and report back. What does it say? Because
it will say that it's a personal massager, because that's what it says on the internet.
And it's told to behave.
Yeah, probably.
You need to put it in Grok. Unhinged.
Yeah. Grok will get it.
Grok will nail it. Yeah.
But like that's when I think about people, right? Almost like a Pandora's box theory. There's always like one little thing that doesn't fit. And for humans, it's this kind of chaotic, novelty-seeking, surprise and delight that we chase. So once everything becomes a plateau or a norm or homogenized, we're going to chase the extra thing, the strange thing, and this is just how we constantly evolve. As soon as things start to feel a little bit samey, we get that human itch.
Well, do you think maybe business services and human creativity will be a little bit like the artisan jams that you buy at the market now, right? You'll go...
They make no money?
Yeah, they make no money. And they're often...
use up the rotting fruit.
They can be worse quality or at least inconsistent quality.
Inconsistent, can't be scaled.
We still go and you still buy them and it's charming.
Yeah. Because
it's real.
The
charm economy.
Which I'm going to define as like value.
You heard it here first.
Value that you pay for or not, but humans can keep creating and businesses and art and whatever, but how much is somebody willing to pay for it in a capitalist economy? That's kind of where you start to go, is it valuable or not? All of these SaaS tools, all of these art projects. My general prediction is that sports and art is going to go up in value.
Yeah, I would like to think so.
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia, Aramco and stuff, investing in sports now seems like a pretty good move, eh? When they first started doing it, I was like, what is this? Why are you doing this? And then, and I'm like, oh, that's why.
Well, I mean, last week we had
Everything's going to zero.
Brad from Halter, but his job before Halter was working as an America's Cup boat technician.
Oh, cool.
Their computer division, their tech division is like 100 people versus the few on a boat. But that's a really wonderful example of human skill and capability combined with a really intense technical team. And car racing would be another. So I kind of wonder if this investment is going to continue, or
We'll just
now
end
they've
up
got
back with gladiators,
like maybe.
pure blood sport.
I mean, have you ever watched
Maybe.
the UFC?
I've always thought they just need to like change the rules a little, and it's
We're creeping closer to the Hunger Games.
yeah. The societal collapse of Rome again.
See, this is why my child is studying both Latin and technology, because I'm like, prepare yourself for either
Yeah.
outcome.
And Mandarin, right?
I like to think though that, as before I said that the AI can do your reports for you, and as it becomes more kind of capable, then you ask yourself, well, what value does a human generate? And maybe it's just their humanness, which is the interaction. We're social creatures, and maybe it is just that interaction of giving some artisan jam maker $5 and just knowing that you kind of had that connection with them. And maybe the same will be in business, and you do have a marketing person there who's working with the AI, but they still add that kind of flavor. And also, if I could snap my fingers and replace everyone in my office with an AI agent now who is vastly cheaper and vastly more capable, I don't want to work with AIs all day, right? So there's still going to be this
Reason to exist.
reason to exist, yeah. Exactly.
There's also a boatload of legacy systems. I think we talked about this
Oh, yeah.
previously as well. The consumer-facing products are going to change overnight because they don't have random integrations and they can be switched off and not lose $100 million a minute kind of thing.
So can you give me an example of that?
I can never remember the name of the airline. There's like an airport flight system that was built in the 70s. It's called I want to say Siebel, but that's the booking system. There's another system under there that IBM maintain. You can't switch it off. Literally cannot suffer any downtime. So they just don't touch it.
So that's just going to tick over without AI, you're
Well,
saying? Or it
and
needs humans?
almost 80% of banking infrastructure is still on AT360 mainframes from the 70s.
So do you think maybe a population shift away from banks is what's going to force them to change?
These industries are heavily regulated. They can't change even if they want to modernize. Most of them do want to modernize, but the regulators are like, no, you can't do that. Like, you need to meet this compliance rule and this compliance rule and this compliance rule, and then it's like, okay, well, we have to build an entirely new system, recomply the whole system, and then have to cut over from the old system to the new system without missing a beat. It's quite a chore.
Yeah.
While
My heart is
transacting.
pounding thinking of that.
Yeah. While planes are in the air, while money is changing hands, while
Can the entire globe just observe a 2-minute silence at the same time while we turn the system off and back on again?
yeah. So there's this molasses, the deeper into core systems that you go,
Yeah.
and I think it happened with mobile phones. Like we still have. How many of you have insurance companies that mobile apps suck?
I don't even go on an insurance app.
I log in. I tried to log into my insurance. The reason I bring up the insurance app is I tried to log into my insurance app this morning to just book like a consult or something. It asked me for my first name, my last name, my full birth date, and my policy number, and my email address, and then it sent me a code to then enter into the. And if okay, so a policy number I couldn't find it, put it in, mismatched, got a generic error message. Said, there is an error. Please try again. Right? And I had got one of those Cloudflare tick boxes that was just like, verify you're a human. And I was like, this is laughable. This is going to take me 10 minutes. I just turned to my partner. I was like, this is going to take me 10 minutes. And it took me 10 minutes. I had to figure out by myself which field I had put in incorrectly and why. And then I had to wait for all of the spam filters to get me my verification code, to then put it in, to then find out when I tried to book the thing, it just errored out. If we can't even get a mobile app right, in 2025, I have no fear that
Yeah.
AI is going to change the back office.
That's so
systems of-
painful. Like, I literally wanted to fall asleep during that story. Like, any lag on a login just makes me want to claw my eyes out. And if, as a millennial, I can't cope with that lag, digital natives, no time or patience.
Yeah, so you might see shifts. You might see these tidal shifts of like generational change, where people back Lemonade, which is like the neo insurance company in the US, instead of going to traditional insurers. But traditional insurers have regulatory capture. So how do you unseat
Yeah.
someone like a Insurance America group when
Yeah.
they're the underwriter for like Lemonade?
Yeah.
So it's like, are they really going to change as fast as we think they're going to change? Probably not, just because of unless the regulations change.
I mean, this whole regulation, cybersecurity, I mean, internally, we've got so much security at work, and I appreciate why. But every now and then, when I have to, like, go to my authenticator and re-log into JumpCloud, and then my thumb password, and then, like, recite my mother's sister's 4th birthday removed from it, just to get in, it drives me mental. But I understand why. And so...
But the bad guys have won. That's what this reminds me.
Well, yeah, it
It's basically
does.
like we the good actors have to change our behavior because there's not even a handful, but quite a few bad actors. Who are
Would you
just
like to know what
basically
it's like to be a woman in the world?
Mark 9:29 is second escalation from Elena.
I have a look. I have a loop back. I have a loop back here, and it's about security, because when you were saying earlier about being concerned that people with AI could just stand up their own systems, if you take a person like myself, as soon as I had the idea, I could just go and connect all of my systems with a few AIs now. All of the cybersecurity flags went up. I can't just go connecting the SaaS platforms I'm part of as my job to our Google Sheets that are behind locked walls, to our data. I can't do that because the LLMs and the agents are not at a trustworthy point. So I'm hamstrung.
But
And what you've
it's-
done is provided a way to get around that security. So what does data and privacy look like inside your system?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. The first thing to remember is your Xero data or your HubSpot data or whatever data is not on your systems now. It's on their systems. So, we offer two ways for people to extract their data. We will provide them with a relational database and we will sync to that, but that's on our server. But if people don't like that, then we can also let them BYOD, bring their own database, and we will put the data in their database on their servers. So that means all the regulation and security is captured by whatever their existing infrastructure is. And that's as far as we can get. If that's not good enough for someone, then
Build
they
your
can't
own
really use
system.
our service. Well, they can't even build their own because they're going to have the same problem. You're able to synchronize this data now with this, so the data is never at rest on our servers. So we can take it from Xero without ever seeing it and dump it down into their database. And that's as good as they could ever build for themselves. But absolutely, there are lots of people, and that's not good enough. And I'm afraid we can't help them. In terms of getting it into the LLM itself, when it makes a query and we pass the data back to the LLM, your list of invoices for this month, then yes, at that point, that's being routed through Elon's personal computer, and at that point they could intercept that. Their terms say that they don't train on private data. But
I
yeah,
think
it's
we
exposed.
need to like rethink data architecture,
Yeah.
because I don't even like, if you take a step back, it's like moronic that they use third-party traits to identify your banking. So it's like, because the fundamental security problem is
right.
that you have to keep all your information private. So it's a trust and privacy based system, right? But there's like game theory that says if you're constantly defending, you have to win 100% of the time. So that's like a fool's errand, right? So if you're attacking, you have the attacker's benefit, the high ground, effectively, because out of 1,000 attempts to steal your data, I just have to get through once. So our entire society's security architecture is fundamentally broken, because when I call my telco, which my cell phone number acts as a second factor authentication for my bank, the telco verifies it using third-party data, which is my birthday, and some dumbass security question that relies on privacy.
Yeah.
This fundamental model is broken.
Yeah.
And it's the entire reason we need to do all this stupid cybersecurity stuff. If
Yeah.
you flip it on its head and say, actually, everybody knows my birthday, everybody knows my security question answers, everybody
Yeah.
knows my name, and the bank has to physically see me in person to identify me for a transaction,
Yeah.
all of the cyber stuff goes away.
Well, it's funny because you've just made me realise we talked a few weeks ago about, say, some people wanting to buy the 23andMe database. Back in ye old day when people were like, no one's going to know what your mother's maiden name was except you and your immediate family. You can,
Yeah.
That's easy now.
The best security model going forward is to assume that all data is visible.
So what's the answer to this then? How do we fix this problem?
Banks need to be better.
Just banks?
Because if you go back to most of the problems that we're trying to protect against, especially in business, it's theft. You're fundamentally trying to stop someone. There's two things: someone misrepresent your brand, which is theft, IP theft, and conduct business under your name, or steal an invoice payment or break into your bank account. So the banks are in the middle of all of that, and basically banks have completely absolved their requirement to actually identify you, because going into a physical bank and then them looking at you and going, yep, I think that's you, is a completely different authentication model to sending a random code to a random phone number that 2 years ago you told them was your phone.
Well, when was the last time you went into a real bank to prove your identity?
I avoid them at all costs.
Same.
I don't know that it's practical, but if you look at the amount of lost productivity from cyber bullshit that everyone has to deal with, and lost money, and people's retirements getting ripped off, this is the banks not taking responsibility for authorizing you, like authenticating you. They've basically built a shitty authentication system, and they're saying that's good enough, and it clearly isn't, because I don't think people were falling for this degree of scams completely remote of their bank 25 years ago.
I guess the fundamental change between now and 25 years ago is that 25 years ago you could be robbed by a person on the street, and now you can be robbed by anybody in the world.
Yeah.
And so
In the world
the
is the
attack
key.
surface is like a gajillion times better.
And
bigger.
how are you supposed to put like a normal human being against an entire criminal gang of scam? Like what are those click farms? There's the entire, like, I think China and Myanmar, they're going at it right now and the Chinese authorities are trying to help shut down these scam centers, which have thousands of employees who are literally just phoning people and trying to bait someone into giving them money. Like this, I don't know why we accept it. I've been
That's a
annoyed
job
at it.
that could be done by AI. That could make some efficiencies there in their business.
Well, the problem is banks move so slowly, the AIs have ended up on the wrong side. So like AI accelerated scamming and cyber, we talked about Microsoft reporting something like 4 billion attempts on Microsoft 365 accounts in a 12-month period, completely automated using AI agents.
Yeah.
So they don't have any rules. The bad guys don't have any rules. They can do whatever they want. So banks, regulators, everything just needs to move a lot faster is where I'm getting with that. And also they just need to be less lazy. Like they're closing down the branches because it's more profitable. That's their answer. So basically they're moving the profit that they make from running the branches into the losses that we have to suffer from being constantly scared and actually losing money to scammers.
Yeah.
Because the banks don't pay you back for that.
No,
They
but
actually have the goal to then say, you got scammed and you authorized that payment in your lounge over the mobile app. And they did an insufficient job of actually authenticating. So yeah, anyway, it's a societal problem that just gets glossed over. And it's also makes me very irate because I waste a boatload of time logging in and out of shit. Anywho, rant over. As we were. ETLs, amazing.
I am going to look up if I have any other questions. I mean, I have a whole lot of questions, but I do like the winding chat because actually data, I mean, if data is your entire business, not your entire business, but it's the thing that people want and value the most.
that's the value that we can bring, yeah. But only if you can do something with that data as well. So for 20 years at Blackball, we would bring people data and they would want to report because that's just what they thought data was used for. But no one reads their reports, and you get the same bar chart every day, and it's just I love data. I'm a data nerd, but reports bore me. I don't look at them. So it's only as good as you can actually do something with it. And so if we circle back to AI, I think this is a whole new paradigm where you can start doing some exception reporting, for example. So you don't get the same old bar chart in your email every day. You only get an email if something's kind of changed. And so maybe data will have this whole new kind of level of accessibility.
But we can now do the next thing.
What's the next thing?
Like we used to get the reports, and then the human goes, and then goes and does the thing.
Yes.
I think what we've crept past is like, and I think that's a culture change for people as well. Still get a lot of people asking for the report, and it's like, it's not the report. The agent can do more. It can actually send the email, or go change the thing in a system for you. The ability to do the next thing once you've understood the data. You can not only interpret the data automatically, which hasn't been really possible before. You used to have to use if greater than 5, do this. If less than 5, do this. And then you get equals 5. And then the whole thing breaks. Whereas now, you can throw an LLM and say, looking at this graph or this spreadsheet, interpret it and then do one of these 3 actions. And then an agent can then, which I've now witnessed. Okay, so the one okay thing in GPT-5 is they've turned on agents. So it can actually do things like shop for you. And
would you trust it
Yeah,
at this
but
point?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not doing
I've
that.
sent it to look for carpets for my car.
Did
and
it? How did it go?
I'll let you know. It takes ages.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Because they're losing money hand over fist.
Yeah.
So I use ChatGPT and Grok a lot because it gives me peace to know that Elon and Altman are losing money every time I fire
You should
a query.
just set up 2 bots which talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
just-
from each side.
The agent task is just to keep going.
And then Claude, who are the only ones who do the ISO 42001, which is the AI ethics compliance. I use them sparingly.
Oh, yeah.
And I pay them money. Because
What's Grok like? I've never used it.
In unhinged mode,
Neither.
a laugh and a half, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. It is easily the best, but...
Wait, best at what?
What's the value?
At summarizing the internet.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know that I want that.
It's got all the thing to be worried about with Grok is it's got all of the distortion of the internet built into it.
Right.
So as long as you were on Reddit filtering that shit out anyway, then using Grok in unhinged mode, I highly recommend. But if you're susceptible to, things like, I don't know, being an anti-vaxxer, for example, probably not a good idea.
Right. So if you're a skeptic who knows the dark places but isn't going to lean into them.
But then if you can't trust your LLM, then what's the point in using it? If I'm jumping over to Reddit every time to double check something.
What I wanted to say is it's quite good at boring shit, like being a lawyer and an accountant and stuff. Because it doesn't really there's no filters on it, right?
Yeah.
So when you ask it for the worst case, it kind of, it's not polite about it.
Yeah, draws a picture of it.
Unhinged mode is actually also kind of funny because it's quite abusive. And it's like,
Do they
if
actually call it unhinged mode?
It's unhinged mode. Yeah, you tick a box and it just goes at it. And if you ask it to roast you, it's fucking goes for it, eh? So I don't know if that's your type of humor. I would highly recommend Grok. ChatGPT, a little bit more run-of-the-mill, mundane. Yeah. Gets a surprising amount of use from me.
Yeah.
Mostly because I know that they're losing money every time.
Do you know, we actually ended up landing on Gemini to power our LLMs. It was the big context window that appealed initially, although people have caught up with that. But I just found it was very consistent and very well priced. And the tooling, its ability to call out to actions was far more consistent and accurate, whereas ChatGPT would often try to kind of I got this.
Yeah.
I don't need this action. I'll answer it for you. Your invoices last month were $1,000.
Yeah, like with that face.
Yeah, totally.
When you edit this, you just need to zoom in.
Yeah. But yeah, nobody really. I've noticed that people don't really bring Gemini into the conversation as much as always Claude.
We use it's fair. It's a fair comment. We actually use Gemini at work because of the data retention guarantees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we actually trust Google to be like, yeah, you're not going to store our data.
I'm going to call out the power of brand there.
Yeah.
It's brand and visibility and market, and having founders with loud voices associated to platforms for all of the AI news that I follow on the channel, the Google brand comes before Gemini, which is maybe why the name drops away. At least just you know, if you were to query an LLM, for example, and say, like, what are the AI LLM companies getting the most, you know, talk about in market, just at brand alone, I don't think Gemini would feature.
Well, ChatGPT is synonymous with AI
Yeah.
for most people.
It's like the
That's
Band-Aid
what they
effect.
call AI.
Yeah.
I think,
Kleenex.
you know, Google was hassled because they missed the boat with AI.
They're catching up
But
fast, though.
they surely could dominate if they. I think they're holding themselves back because they don't want you know to do anything too dodgy. But think of the data that's at their disposal. Think of the cash that they've got in the bank.
Yeah.
I've heard that is it a tensor chip, whatever chip they've custom built, is
TPUs.
massively more efficient than the NVIDIA chips that so and so is using.
They keep those in-house because the TPUs that are available via Google Cloud are not comparable to the NVIDIA GPUs. But I've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
They do have their own custom silicon, and they basically don't allow other people to use it because
Right.
they're like,
And
this is our only advantage.
yeah, they're vastly more efficient, right? And
Yeah.
so less costs at their end.
How long do you think NVIDIA is going to dominate? I've been just waiting for that house of cards to come down, but
Man,
it
they're in
just
the right place
refuses.
at the right time.
I bought every single one of their products. Like, I didn't buy any stock.
I bought stock of the company above them.
What's that?
Asmil.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
ASML.
Is it
I just say it funny.
Amsterdam or
Philips Semiconductor rebranded to ASML.
Yeah.
Yeah. UV lithography machines.
What are you doing at this podcast if you're in stock with them? You should be off jet setting. To answer your question, I think they're going to dominate for ages.
Yeah.
I mean, who else is coming close?
Well, I think there's a genuine conflict of interest with, because AMD's CEO, AMD's the only one that can compete. So if you remember, if you're a gamer, the Radeon versus the GeForce was the old comparable, and they used to keep up neck and neck.
Yeah.
Because their architecture. So the thing you need to know is like NVIDIA GPUs are very good at doing mathematical equations simultaneously, but like not 2 or 3 at a time, like thousands at a time. And to get a machine learning model to spit out an answer, you need to evaluate a whole bunch of equations, right? So the AMD graphics cards back in the day regularly outperformed the NVIDIA cards, and it was always neck and neck. And the only thing NVIDIA did was they built a piece of software called CUDA, which allowed you to use those chips for scientific purposes instead of gaming purposes. The AMD, which is the company that bought ATI, who make the Radeon, was taken over by a new CEO who is Jensen Huang's cousin.
No kidding.
And then suddenly, conspiracy theories, you guys all ready for it? Put your tinfoil hats on. And then suddenly, the Radeon started to slow down in performance comparable to NVIDIA chips. That's a fact. You can fact check it.
So it's
She
not.
does fact
So it's
check
not conspiracy theory. It's just a conspiracy.
I think it's just yet another demonstration of the world's conflicts of interests.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a viable competitor in AMD. I just think that it's being held back by something unsaid. Yeah. Because Intel's struggling. I think the US government is actually thinking of putting money into Intel. What happened to Intel? Oh, man. Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
Well,
what happened to
that's
IBM?
the whole other thing is so much of the AI industry seems to be coming out of America. The software side of it, and also the these chips and these processors. And then I just think it's interesting with these. I don't want to get too political, but all these tariffs that have been put on NVIDIA, and they can't export to China. And to what extent is that actually slowing China's performance? And is that just going to incentivize China to build their own?
Oh, it absolutely has.
processors? And
They had 5 employees at Taiwan Semi. So
Oh,
Taiwan TSMC is the only chip maker in the world that's capable of making. It's like number 1 customer of ASML, but it's like just the only chip fab in the world that can produce the top end NVIDIA chips. And I think it was about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they arrested 5 of their employees for spying.
Yeah.
They were stealing trade secrets for guess who? I'll give you one guess.
Yeah, well, and what if China decides to take Taiwan? My point is, this whole AI thing, it's almost a pawn in these kind of geopolitical conflicts as
Yeah.
well. Like they're inseparable. Mm-hmm. And
It is
goodness knows
quite-
what defense has got at their disposal. I'm sure they're ahead of what we're doing with ChatGPT. Crazy.
Have you seen Mountainhead?
Yes, you recommended it, and I went and watched it that
What
night.
did you think of it?
I thought it was very good, but I thought it could have been better.
But it was wild given the. Have you watched it yet?
Not yet.
Oh, it came out at exactly the...
The
I'm
right
still
time,
working
yeah.
my way through Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Are you joking?
9 seasons, man. Is it 9 seasons? Yeah. No.
The old one.
Yeah.
What were you doing in the 90s?
Not watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's so bad.
If we go from macro geopolitical,
Just FYI.
it was amazing at the time. If we go from macro geopolitical,
This whole angel love thing is just, it's beyond me.
and I bring it down to personal, is there an application for like data sync hub questioning in your personal life? I want to be like, hey, data, send me an email at the end of every month and tell me where I overspend. Tell me, like, log into my HelloFresh, what kind of things am I eating? Go through all my emails, like, where's the biggest inefficiencies in my life? Am I, like, there are so many human ways that I could think
I never thought
of
that.
tackling that. How do you manage data in your personal life? Are you really good with your, like, family data, kids'
Oh, I've
medical
got folder
records? Like,
structures.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still, like, wedded to the
I
file naming conventions and
I'm
the
a-
folders inside folders of yesteryear?
Yeah, I am. I'm stuck in that, and I know I shouldn't be. But I'm an inbox Xero kind of guy.
Same.
You know, I like them all filed away in nice,
Yeah.
organized Google Drive. It's got a bin folder and a Blackboard folder, and operations. But I don't ever trawl through my folders. I just search for it at the root directory, and it brings what I need. So I suppose I'm a bit of a dark horse when it comes to storage.
But knowing that that's
No one has ever uttered those words in all of human history before.
knowing
A bit of a
that
dark
pattern,
horse when it comes to
like,
storage.
thing, like when you're fastidious about data labeling and stuff, it does make your life flow easier. There's this pivot, right? Because I think back a lot to file structures and the way that jobs pre Google Drive kind of worked, and when you like really rigorous filing systems and the jobs that I worked in, like every name had to have like this underscore date underscore this part's in caps, this part's not, V1, V2, final version 3, like, and the way that I think maps to that. Now there's this whole generation of
Wait.
like the flurry inside our Google Drive makes my skin crawl.
You guys don't just store everything in the downloads folder?
Oh my god.
Don't.
I
Naturally.
routinely, like every single week, I go through my downloads folder. I go through all of my screenshots, because when you're in marketing, you're screenshotting everything all the time. And I label stuff, and I put it in the right places, and I put it in the right folders.
That's
and everything
so-
has to be labeled properly.
That's so different. Every month, I just get a prompt from iCloud to say, you need to buy more storage, and I just pay more money. So much easier.
You raise a good point, though.
I think I pay Apple.
How
like,
many notifications
half
do
my
you have
mortgage or something.
unread?
my email is currently at 4,400 and something. Like,
My wife's.
yeah, probably about 50% are actually.
My wife's
legit
email,
emails.
they don't even bother putting the number on the top anymore. It's like 99k
It's
plus
just
or
yeah.
something
My
like that.
iMessage is now
She
just
just-
a.
yeah.
My iMessage is just a red dot.
Yeah, I
It's gone
can't.
past 4 digits.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I mentally consider that's to me like the mental version of living in a house full of clutter.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've
I
tried to
can't.
delete it. I've multiple times just select all
too late
delete
now.
and just
Yeah.
can't do anything.
No, see, I
It just
wouldn't even
errors out.
consider it too late.
So-
I have on occasion like dedicated a whole weekend to like going through my 50,000 photos on my like iPhoto and like deleting all the duplicates, making sure the locations are right, making sure the faces are.
Oh, may I make an observation?
Yes.
I just stopped taking photos.
I
So
think
much
that
easier. So much easier.
you've kind of alluded to a bigger problem with all this storage is not that we don't have the data and not that we're not categorizing it, but that we've got old data. And so if you hypothetically plugged your Google Drive connection in ChatGPT and said, get me the plans for the new balcony I'm building, this is a personal example, we had, I don't know, 5 or 6 iterations of plans, and because I'm organized, I would pop them all in a folder. But the AI doesn't know
Which one?
it doesn't know which is the final one.
Yeah.
You know, it might guess by modification date, but even that's not a real thing. And so that makes the answer completely useless.
Yeah.
How would it possibly know? it would. How do I know when I go in? I guess I don't even know.
I mean, that's
had to
a
open them
really
up and look at
interesting loop back to the thing you said at the start. Sometimes a human's processing capability is currently faster than an AI.
Oh, definitely.
Because if you were to look at those with your context, with your visual ability to like see and understand change, it would take an AI, I don't know, looking for like a spot the difference, right?
Yeah.
And then trying to interpret which difference is more recent.
And the AI wasn't privy to the phone call that you just had with the
Yeah.
architect. But it should still be able to get you those 5 instances quicker than if you went and looked in there. So then we come back to kind of it augmenting your...
Not if you store everything in the downloads folder.
Order by name.
Ordered by most recently unread.
I actually just delete shit. I just delete aggressively.
I can't function that way. Feels like leaving things on the table. Feels like, yeah. It's like a mental feeling of being in a cluttered room or like not shutting the doors properly as you leave.
I guess the real question is, do you need to know what's in all those emails or whatever? Because I regularly just select like, well, these are more than 2 weeks old.
I don't need to know, but I need to know that I could know if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, there are fundamental human personality traits at work under here. There's psychology
Yeah,
behind
yeah.
this. And the way in which people would query an LLM for information about their life or data probably talks a lot back to, like, do you know why you're asking? Are you asking the right questions? If the system couldn't give you the answer, would you know how to find it if it was absolutely critical that you found the answer? And I wonder there, like, are there situations where I will be the first to put my hand up and say, I sometimes use an LLM because I am being like the absolute peak of lazy. And then I feel like very sad about it. I'm like, I did not need to use an LLM because my calculator was in another room.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I don't know.
I don't mind that.
I use it for advice a lot. It's like it's
Really?
the first port of like, what should I? Yeah, here's my situation. Here's what my brain says.
And
the
does
threads to
that
pull out.
advice resonate with you? Do you take that advice?
Yeah, I've had like 2-hour-long sort of scenario modeling.
Oh, yeah.
Do
Sessions
you not have friends?
It is really.
I mean,
good.
is that a surprise?
You sound like it's AI.
Do you not have a trusted network of humans?
No. I mean, yes, but like,
What
it's
do
so
you-
much easier than
Okay,
plugging.
thought of your
one
experiment.
of your friends
Why
at 1
would you
a.m.
trust an LLM for advice more than a network of people?
It's not that. It's just availability.
Convenience.
Yeah, I know a decent amount of people, and a lot of them are very busy, and I don't know why. Like, yeah, I mean, on one hand, if they're your friend, they should give you some airtime.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm like, why do you care about my problems? Like,
Do you ever worry
my
that
problems.
that humans being a slave to convenience and AI making things so much easier is going to pull us away from the patience to wait for the right things to come up? Or like to sit with a problem and think about it and wait for somebody to talk to because they're more important, or even to spend hours looking at a spreadsheet to figure out the answer before you query a report. And I'm not saying that, I would like to do that, but it's just an example of like, it's not one or other, right? But we will always pick the easy choice. Not a lot of people want to do things the hard way.
We will, but I think this AI paradigm is just an extension of the internet and then the telephone and then letter writing, before that. So we'll always go for convenience. And I think that's probably a good thing. But yeah, you pay for it. I've heard that our attention span isn't as long, and I can't do long division anymore because I've used a calculator for years.
But does that make you sad?
No, it doesn't make me sad. But what does make me sad is when people don't just, this is kind of tangential, but
untangential or tangential?
tangential to what we're talking about.
Gotcha.
Untangential would mean I was still on track and I wouldn't have gone off on another tangent. Anyway, I think there's a lot to be said for not doing anything. Go for a walk without your headphones in, sit at a cafe and wait for your coffee and watch the people walk by.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you read a book maybe, but don't scroll on your phone. And if I'm trying to work out a problem for work, right, I'm constantly thinking about all these things, and I can very easily dial up a podcast or some article or something and read about these systems or listen to these experts come in and be interviewed by so-and-so. But it's better, I think, to just sit and dwell on the problem and just have it in the back of your mind while you're going for a walk and just let your mind wander. And out of that can come a little bit of creativity, and you don't need the answers straight away. That's my point. And if you get the answer straight away, then you're on to the next one and the next one and the next one. Like it's an inexhaustive list of questions and stresses. Yeah, told you it was a tangent.
Not really.
I can't circle back to AI exactly on that one, but
No, I think
It's
I
kind
think
of
it's a really
related
good
in
one.
like, what would you do with your free time?
yes.
Because like the AI is going to give you a whole bunch of free time. What would you do with it? Come up with better ideas.
Yeah, but
I think that's what
those
people should
ideas, yeah, you should come up with better ideas, but instead you'll say, oh, I've got some more time. I'll ask the AI for a better idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to fight that reflex.
Where's the hope? Where's the hope? What are you hoping to see?
I can answer that.
Yes, give us some optimism.
Let me start with a story. A couple of months ago, I got sick of reading my newsletters, and I've always, for years, just subscribed to free newsletters. And I got sick of them because they're full of crap. It's the same. They're clearly written by a robot. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to subscribe. And I subscribed to The Verge. It's like $50 or something. And it's amazing. It's got humans that actually write the articles, and they're funny, and they, you know, draw on their personal experiences and whatever. And I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, why now, when there's so much news out there, did I actually finally start paying for something? And I realized it's because it's a human that is giving that to me. So I think that ironically, this massive rise in AI and this massive flood of AI slop on the internet might actually ricochet back and make an interpersonal relationship sitting in the same room much more valuable and much more desirable, and maybe people will come back and kind of reestablish that.
Yeah.
And again, like, humans are social creatures. I don't think we're all going to be sucked down into doom scrolling forever and talking with Mark's AI bots on Facebook. And I'm hoping that we'll look back on this kind of 20-year period and go, oh shit, that was awkward, that time where we all, you know, had relationships with ChatGPT. But I think I mean, not all of us.
What is this device?
Just need
The awkward period.
the awkward period.
You know, like that's
blushing.
the algorithmic homogeny.
Yeah.
And being able, the Verge people probably did use AI to research, but the output was human.
And look, they
And
might have
the-
even used AI to
But it was like,
finesse.
the point is, with the human, whatever the human version of it was, either 100% human or augmented, it was so much better than the homogenized Spotify algorithm version, right?
Yeah,
think.
it was. And also, I suppose, just the mere fact that I think it's coming from a human is value to me.
Yeah.
Even if the article is wrong or biased,
Yeah.
that still meant something to me. But I didn't realize that when I paid
It's like when a
$50.
movie starts with, this is based on true events.
Yeah,
And
you're
just like, you
"Ooh."
sit up, you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, it really happened.
I think it is this time where you start placing small bets as an individual on the things that you do have, that you see value in, because we've moved from like paying for one-off things, magazines and so on, to small subscriptions. And like, I subscribe to a couple of Substacks, and when you know that what they're asking for is a pretty minimal amount, and then you can appreciate the effort they're putting in,
Yeah.
and you're like, I see value in that, I'm willing to pay for the value and support you to do your one-man thing or one-woman thing. It's a pretty nice model. Lots of microtransactions. Maybe we go back to this kind of like, we'll just ignore the trillionaire overlords and their clanker part. Have you heard of clankers, by the way?
No.
This is new Gen Z slang or new Gen Alpha slang.
Teach me.
Clankers is robots, but and I first,
You know, we're sounding like those.
I got my 14-year-old in the back because they go, oh yeah, that's from a meme, clankers, and then I googled it to figure out what it was. I used Perplexity. I don't Google, and it's
But you still call it Googling.
I still call it googling. Search it up, as the kids say.
Perplexity is a terrible name.
A word I had never heard, but you heard it here first. Robophobia.
Oh, yeah?
Clankers.
Clankers is like a robotic slur So like, oh, you stupid clanker, like as in to talk to a robot that way, but it's
It's like a wanker.
oh, I hadn't made that
A
connection.
wanker. Yeah.
Guys,
Anyway,
we
yeah.
are seriously at risk of sounding like boomers. Like,
Oh yeah.
back in my day, we used to file our taxes manually. We used to write it out by hand using pens and stuff. None of this chat GPT and the Claude and the Geminis and...
No one knew your mother's
Do
name.
you know what a clanker is?
Yeah.
My kid the other day came up to me, told me, clanker, which rhymes with wanker.
Okay, boomer.
That's what you sound like.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
we're the next boomers. It's gonna happen.
yeah. I'm pretty proud to be a millennial, if I'm honest.
Oh, I'm that sweet. I'm
Gen
Gen
X.
X, so I'm perfect. Like I'm bulletproof at the moment. But my time will
Isn't
come.
Gen X like the forgotten generation?
Fine,
Because you guys are
that's
so
fine.
quiet. And it's all of us attention grabbing snowflakes like, give me my gold star.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's like what a millennial is.
Oh, I still don't know what I am. I should be a millennial.
You're a millennial. I'm an elder millennial.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Hobbit character.
Back in my day, we didn't have cell phones in school. And you used to text, you go, 1, 2, tick, 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 tick. Way tangential. We're coming close to time anyway. We're a few minutes over. So we were trying to end on an optimistic note. We think that in the... Well, I asked for a hopeful story and you kind of got there.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. Go on.
I don't want to take it to a dark place.
Jesus, 3-in-1 podcast later.
No, I guess it's more like bringing it back to thinking about data and providing value to the world. If people might be facing like a work displacement or a job, whether it's a job loss or just a job change, because you don't need to put in so much effort to extract value from your systems and your processes and your data anymore, what is it that you think that people should be focusing on if they want to kind of like ride out the next 5 to 10 years with success?
That's such a hard question, isn't it? I would like to say you're talking about what they should study and what jobs they should try to get into.
Yeah, a bit of both. I think in particular, like those of us who have worked 15, 20, 30 years already kind of have an advantage because we don't have to go back and learn how to do the slow thinking. We're just having some of the most boring tasks taken off our plate thanks to LLMs.
Yeah.
For people that are only just getting in, and those are often the jobs that they were given first to learn, how are you going to become a person of value if you don't need to do the slow, small stuff anymore?
I guess, given that AI is probably going to impact every white-collar job at every level, kind of evens it out, right? So I think maybe you should just come back and study something you love doing, something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
I do think there's still value in education, learning to learn and learning to be curious. And there'll still be people doing research and kind of pushing humanity forward. But yeah, if you want to be a lawyer, you'll probably find that it's harder to get a job when you graduate because all the documentation is being automated for you. But if you love law, then get in there and I don't think there's going to be this massive upheaval in the next few years, like what you're saying with those old systems. And so I've built software for years, and there's still plenty of work for interns to do, old systems, and just being part of a team and the creativity and the passion for it.
I think there's definitely the job loss thing. But it's if you take the fear and the optimism out of it and kind of just like dispassionately try and look at it. Does anyone know a lawyer that works normal hours? They work ungodly hours, and it's like a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So now you're just going to get beaten by a lawyer that works 9 to 5, and that person's just going to be like probably a more well-rounded individual, and they're going to be AI assisted, and like if you are in those spaces, you're not doing yourself out of a job. You're just making your job better. And if you've just come out of a law school and you've just graduated and you can't get a job, what do? it's highly unlikely you're just going to sit there and go, well, that was a waste of time. Probably you're just going to start a law firm. And then you're just going to go, well, I don't need a senior person above me. I can just offer a cheap rate and use AI. Like, you know, like if you actually play out the game theory, I don't think you can call it, but I just don't think it's easy for anyone to sort of say the whole world's just, you know, and whole industries are going to shift. Respectfully, I get why people think that. But like, there's a reason they use pilots to become astronauts. Astronauts, that wasn't a job before.
Yes, but if those pilots never got the opportunity to start learning to fly a plane, then there would be no astronaut.
Yeah, which is
to become.
Yeah, which is probably where the time required to adapt, right?
Yeah.
Because if you, like, I know how to do calculus, but if you ask me to invent calculus, I wouldn't be able to do that because somebody else did it, and I never got taught how to do it, and I'm not smart enough to do it. But I use calculus. So once something's invented, doesn't need to be reinvented. I don't think so. So once, I don't know, you get where I'm going with this? Basically, like, we've got established systems and industries. When a new technology comes along, it's those industries that are going to be responsible for evolving them into the next version of whatever, right? And they're going to have to deal with competitive pressures and whatnot. But I don't think it just automatically means that industry will disappear overnight.
Oh, no.
Because they have a vested interest in staying relevant. And also, there's still regulation. Like, lawyers still need to turn up in person to a judge in a criminal case or whatever. Is that ever going to change? Like, there's a lot of water to flow under that bridge.
They, you know, the old organizational structure used to be kind of a pyramid, right? And you had the boss at the top, then you had some kind of experienced lawyers, and then you had the interns and the juniors coming in. But now it's probably more of a diamond shape where you've got the boss at the top. And I still think there's going to be room for the experienced people, but maybe fewer at the bottom, because those data entry jobs, those low-level kind of research jobs, they can be done by an LLM as long as there's the human above it to assess the work and kind of evaluate that. So that would be so I agree the industry's not going anywhere. But I think there will be an impact at that bottom level for graduates. And they could go start their own law firm, but 500 graduates coming out of Auckland University, 500 new law firms next year, that's not going to work either. Unless everybody becomes their own lawyer, maybe. Someone will build a SaaS actually instead.
Yeah. I can hear you thinking up a tangent, but I'm going to bring us to a close.
Sung Tzu, friends close, enemies closer. So if you think AI is a threat to you,
get to know
get
it
close.
really well. Yeah. Go hug a clanker.
Please make that the podcast title.
What's a clanker?
Well, some people think it's a massager.
It's going to get real weird when someone puts an LLM in one of those.
I'm good.
Oh my gosh.
That's actually going to be a market that never disappears. One day when we're brave enough, we're going to have someone from the industry on to talk about the future of AI in the industry. I'm not going down that tangent.
We need a what is it, director's cut version of this? Or?
Yeah, a closed screening. A grok unhinged, an unhinged mode. We've got a lot of unhinged content because, we are unhinged. Is there anything left on the table that you want to say about data and AI before we wrap?
No, I'd like to say something profound and give you a hot take to leave you with. No, but I've got nothing. We've already covered all the things that I'm passionate about. I guess if I could circle back to something I said before, which is I think, if you take where we are now and this massive proliferation in AIs and LLMs and everybody being able to apply them to their business, I really think that the value that we're adding is the context and the data underneath it. And you must never trust an AI that has no context, because it will just spout off the context of whatever it found on the internet. So the more data and stuff we can feed in, the better. So I think there'll be a rise in that in the next few years while we make the most of this.
One last question. It's kind of leading, but do you think people think that using AI and data ETL and sync tools like yours is harder than it actually is, like to get value?
I think that they don't. Yes, they do think it's too hard because I don't think they realise that with a few mouse clicks you could actually be talking to your accounting data and having it actually send you a daily summary the next day. They don't realise that's something that, I've actually got a degree in marketing, but I cannot market this system because I'm a nerd and all I care about is the technical stuff. So that's the hardest part, right? I can't remember what the marketing term is, but you have to educate people about a problem that they don't even know they have. Before, when we were selling just the data extraction tools, that was fine because we had the BI guys who know they need the data and they go into Google, well, it was Google back then, and you type in, HubSpot data, Power BI, and we'd come up. But no business owner is going in and asking HubSpot ChatGPT, well, not yet anyway. So yeah, it is hard. But maybe they'll listen to this podcast and
give it a go. Yeah, I'm still constantly surprised when I do presentations. I just show like one repeat example. I take a live Kiwi Bank page, so it's like a home loans page. And I chuck it into Grok and I go point out any regulatory problems with this copy.
Oh, yeah.
Reference the FMCA and Privacy Act and or any banking regulations, and it spews out all of these issues.
Wow.
In like 10 seconds, and everyone's like, because every marketer who works in a big organization that has to go through legal to get copy on a website,
right,
literally knows that I've just eradicated 3 days of back and forth with legal, and also improved the quality of the result using a free tool online. And it actually points out some pretty major flaws on those, so that even the human version of whoever approved that copy got it wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly surprised to hear the audience, people go, wow. You can hear people going, oh, wow. And I'm like, wow, we've had this shit for like 3-4 years, and that's the first time you've seen that happen? That's really surprising.
But people are playing catch up to know to be AI first in that way.
Yeah, even I still do it sometimes. I find myself whipping out a spreadsheet or something to work something out, and I'm like, nope, wait on, I can go and ask this thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of muscle memory.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And it's that daily use and kind of at least weekly learning. Just a podcast here, a YouTube video there.
Just to expand your horizons a bit, right? Understand what's out there.
Yeah. Ben, thank you so much for being our guest.
It's fun. Yeah. Thank you for your sex story.
Oh, cut that.
Oh, no, you're going to have to cut that
No,
comment.
you're going to have to cut that out. You're going to have to cut that out.
No. Leave my comment in and keep them wondering which of those stories about data was actually a sex story.
Hitachi! I said it. There, I said it.
Unhinged mode. We're done.
We're done. Thanks, guys.